Right, WFI Detroit back with another Sabbath service. We breaking down Matthew the 25th chapter, the sheep and the goats. Right, because the Lord told us to go into the parables. Give me Sirach chapter 1 and verse 25. Right, so we have to go into the parables, the dark sayings, right, the grave sentences of the Lord, man, to get the understanding of the Bible. Right, so get Sirach chapter 1 verse 25. And again, you're not going to learn this in your seminary school. At all. You're not going to learn this in the Baptist church. You're not going to learn this from your fat cat pastor, man. Right, the Lord has to sup with you and give you this wisdom. Get Sirach chapter 1 verse 25.
This is the book of Sirach chapter 1 and verse 25, and it reads thus: The parables of knowledge are in the parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom.
Right, so the Lord said the parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom. Right, this is the treasure of wisdom, the Bible. Right, the Bible is basic instructions, man. Right, it teaches you how to live, it teaches you how to eat. Right, it teaches you the attire that you must put on. Right, it teaches you the holy days of the Lord. It teaches you everything on how to live and conduct yourself on the earth. Right, so the parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom. Read on.
But godliness is an abomination to a sinner.
Right, but this Bible is an abomination to a sinner, man. If you're a homosexual or an adulterous man with no means of repentance, you're going to hate the Bible. Give me John chapter 3 and verse 19. Right, a lot of people hate the Bible. A lot of people say, I don't want to hear that. That book is old. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new era. Right, LGBTQ. Right, they're wicked religion. Right, because that's really all it is. It's a religion. Right, and the Lord is not dealing with them. But nonetheless, these men hate the Bible. Why? Because we shared the light, the glorious light of the Lord, the gospel. Bring this out, King. John chapter 3, verse 19.
This is the book of John chapter 3 and verse 19, and it reads thus: And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world.
That what?
That light is coming to the world.
Right, the Lord said the law is light. We read Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. Scriptures say the word is a lamp to my feet. Read on.
And men love darkness.
And what?
And men love the darkness.
And men love darkness. Men love to be homosexuals. Men love to commit adultery. Men love to shuck and jive in the Christian church. Right? Men love to pray to rocks and stones and worship idols and trees and insects and all manner of creeping things. Right? So the Lord said men love darkness. Read on.
Rather than light.
Rather than light. Because of what?
Because their deeds were evil.
Right, so if your deeds are evil, you're not going to get the understanding of the Bible. Give me Sirach chapter 21 and verse 11. The only way to truly understand the Bible is by taking heed to the commandments of the Lord and true belief in the Most High in the Scriptures. Right? Bring this out, Sirach chapter 21 verse 11.
Book of Sirach chapter 21 and verse 11, and reads thus: He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof. And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom.
Now give me Psalms, I believe it's 111 and 10. So it say, he that keepeth the commandments of the Lord getteth the understanding. Right? So in order to understand these parables, first and foremost, brother, you have to repent and keep the commandments. Right? Because when you first come into the truth, you're a babe. You're at a babe-like stage. Right? You haven't fully repented. So when you read different parables, you're scratching your head like, I don't know, man, that don't make sense. But once you start to really repent and get your spirit in order, then the Most High opens up your understanding. Bring this out, brother.
Psalms chapter 111 and verse 10, and it reads thus: The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
And that's plain. That's a classic precept. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. Now give me Matthew chapter 13 and verse 9. So to get the understanding of these parables, brother, keep the commandments. Have the faith. Really, so I can study, get built up in the word, so the Most High can sup with you and open up your understanding. Matthew chapter 13, verse 9.
This is the book of Matthew, St. Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 9. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables?
He said, why are you speaking unto them in parables? Right? Why are you not making it plain upon tables? Read on.
He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
Right, so the point is, the Lord doesn't want everybody to know about the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. Because ultimately the kingdom of heaven is not for everybody. Right, it's chiefly for the Israelites and more chiefly for the elect. Give me Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 1. So the Lord doesn't want everybody under the sun to understand the Bible. This is why the Lord lays stumbling blocks, snares and traps, right? Because you read John 3:16 on the surface level, you think it's talking about the whole world, the whole planet Earth, everybody that consists therein, the white man, the Japanese, the Chinese. But you got to get the understanding of the Bible to understand it's talking about the word of Israel in Isaiah 45:17, right? So a good understanding have all that they do is commandments. Now bring this out, King.
Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 1 and reads thus.
Right?
Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen.
Whom I have what?
Whom I have chosen.
Right, so the chosen people, we're the ones that's going to get the understanding. Right, the so-called white man, you read certain things to him, he's scratching his head, he's scoffing, he's spitting at you, because he can't get the understanding of the word of the Lord. And that's why the Lord said, cast ye not your pearls before swine in Matthew 7:6. Right, we're not out there to teach Esau and teach the Japanese man and the Chinese man. We out there for the Israelites, man. We out there for our people. Right, keep reading.
Thus saith the Lord that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty.
I will do what?
For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty.
And that water is talking about the word. Give me Ephesians chapter 5, verse 26. And the Lord has given us the word, man. At one point in time, we was thirsty. Matter of fact, give me Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13. We was thirsty. We didn't know our nationality. Right? We thought we was black. We thought we was Negro. Certain brothers thought they was damn Bloods and Crips and GDs. No, brother, you was an Israelite all along. You just didn't have that water. You was famished. You was thirsty. You was going through a drought. Bring that out. Isaiah 5 and 13.
The book of Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 13.
Right?
Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge.
Because they what?
Because they have no knowledge.
And that's why we went into slavery, because we didn't have the knowledge and the understanding. We lost that understanding. We wanted to worship Allah, be Muslims, right? A lot of the Moors, they was into the doctrine of Islam, right? So although they had wealth and riches, they didn't have the Most High. They lost their way. Keep reading.
And their honorable men
what?
And their honorable men are famished.
Are what?
Are famished.
Look up that word famished, brother. What does it mean to be famished? Is that a good thing to be famished? Do you want to wake up in the morning and say, Lord, I pray for being famished? No, man.
Famished means extremely hungry.
What?
Extremely hungry.
Extremely hungry. Read on.
Let me go back. And their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
Right, so famished means extremely hungry. Was it more than that? Or did it just say extremely hungry?
It just said extremely hungry.
Right.
Ravenous.
I got
You got something, brother?
Starving.
it's a very hungry, ravenous, starving to death.
Starving to death. And when you see our people in the ghetto, we starving to death. Right? That's physically and spiritually. Right? But it's more so spiritually. You're starving when you don't know your nationality. You're starving when you're an alcoholic. You're starving when you're hooked on heroin. You're starving when your woman is a prostitute. Right? You're starving, man. Right? So we was starving. We didn't know our nationality. We was lost. We was famished. We didn't have the water. Give me Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 19. But now the Most High is pouring that water back into the nation of Israel. Now we growing up as a strong plant. Because the Lord said we turned into a degenerate plant in Jeremiah 2 and 21. That's why all people, they like talking about killing and robbing and stealing. Just look at drill music. Right? Every video, they got a gun in the video. They pointing at the cameraman. Right? They jumping on cars. They acting like wild bulls, like the scriptures say. Brute beasts, like the brother said. Right? You see what happened in Chicago. You had all them children. You had thousands of children running downtown, busting windows, stealing out of stores, beating up people. You got it, brother.
Isaiah 55 and 1 through 2.
Come on. Bring that out.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 55 and verse 1 through 2. Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters.
Do what?
Come, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters.
And when we out there bidding Israel to the marriage, we also telling them to come to the waters. Come to the Bible. Learn your nationality, brother. Learn how to raise up your family. So I can learn how to take care of your children and take care of your wife. Learn how to repent. Read on.
And he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
Come buy wine and milk without money and without price, meaning come get the knowledge. We're not asking for your money, man. Right? Like these pastors, they got ATMs set up in the back of the church. They shaking the collection plate 5 times in one sermon, asking for your money, patting your pockets. Give me Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 1.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 1.
So we tell our people, come get this knowledge, come get the word of the Lord, come get the rivers of living water without money and without price. You got that, brother. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1.
Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads thus. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest.
Do what?
Eat that thou
Is
findest.
that literal?
La.
That's spiritual, man. Eat of this word, eat of this knowledge. Learn of your nationality. Learn of the commandments. Learn of the doctrine of life. Read on.
Eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee.
See that? Meaning the word of the Lord. Right? So we tell our people, come drink, come eat. Also, give me John chapter 7, verse 37. And again, these are parables. These are similitudes. Matter of fact, before you get that, brother Salakia, get Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. Because the Lord speaks in similes.
This is the book of Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10, and it reads thus. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions,
Right?
and used similitudes.
And then what?
And used similitudes.
Right, so the Lord uses similitudes. Now look up that word similitude. Right? Because they teach you this in literature. But reading and language arts, they teach you about metaphors and similes. Right?
This is
But where did the
similitude.
white man get that knowledge from? The Bible. Bring this out.
It says the quality or state of being similar to something. Resemblance, similarity, likeness, comparison, parallel.
Right. It's a simile.
Right.
It's drawing a parallel. For example, man is personified as beast, which we're going to further explain throughout this lesson. You got the sheep and you got the goats. Right? And we're going to read about it. But give me Isaiah 26 and 19.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 26, and verse 19, and it reads thus. Thy dead men shall
What's
live.
the Bible say?
Thy dead men shall live.
Right, so once upon a time we were dead, man. The Lord said, now we're living. Read on.
Together with my dead body shall they arise.
Right?
Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust. For thy dew is as the dew of herbs.
Now the dew represents the word. Dew is water, right? It comes up and water the face of the ground. Right, so that water, which is the word of life and the knowledge, it gives us that life. Read on.
And the earth shall cast out the dead.
Right, that's it on that. And give me Sirach 13:26.
Book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 26, and it reads thus.
Right.
A cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in prosperity. And the finding out of parables is the finding out of parables
And the finding out of parables, read on.
is a wearisome labor of the mind.
This takes a lot of labor and takes a lot of work, man. Right? But if you truly love the Lord, you're going to go into these parables, you're going to read. Right? You're going to be kind of, dang, what's that saying? You're looking up that word, you're going into this, going into the Hebrew, you're doing this, this, and that. You're calling up brothers, you're trying to figure out what's going on. It's a wearisome labor of the mind. Right? But that fruit is precious once you get to understand it. With that, I yield.
We can
Go
really
to it.
just dive into it, God.
Matthew chapter 25, start at the 31st verse.
31st.
Con.
Matthew chapter 25, St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31.
Right?
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Right? Real quick, I want to touch on that because the Son of Man, who's the Son of Man?
Yahushua.
That's Yahweh. That's another title for Yahweh Shai. Right? A lot of people don't know that. They say, oh no, he's just the Son of God. No, he's also the Son of Man. Right? Give me Romans chapter 1 and verse 3.
The book of Romans chapter 1 and verse 3. And it reads thus. Concerning his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David.
Made of the what?
Made of the seed of
And
David,
he came through the loins and lineage of King David. Read on.
according to the flesh.
According to the flesh. Right? So Yahweh Shai's biological father was Joseph. And give me Revelation 22 and 16. And Joseph is through the lineage of King David.
The book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 16, and reads thus. I, Yahweh Shai, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches.
Right?
I am the root and the offspring of David.
What the Lord say?
I am the root and the offspring of David.
I am the root and the offspring of David. Look up offspring. Yeah, you got certain men that just don't understand. They say no immaculate conception. He didn't have a father. You know, God is his father. Yes, the Heavenly Father is his father, but the Lord has a biological father on the earth because he was made in the flesh. There's no man walking the earth that just can't appear out of nowhere. Right? Just appeared in his mother's womb. No seed involved. Bring this out, King.
Offspring. A person's child.
A what?
A person's child.
A person's child. That's plain upon tables. Read on.
Or children.
Or what?
Or children.
Or children. Read on.
Sons and daughters. Descendants. Family. Progeny.
Real quick. Yahweh Shai also had a family.
Seed.
He had brothers.
Fruit. Seed. Child. Baby. Infant.
See that? Fruit, seed, child, baby, infant. Right, now give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 verse 1. So he said he's the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star. All right.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 1. And it reads thus. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
Right.
Being compacted in blood.
Which is the time of life, right? 9 to 10 months. Read on.
Of the seed of man.
Of the what?
Of the seed of man.
Right, read on.
And the pleasure that came with sleep. And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature. And the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do.
That's right.
I was nursed in swaddling cloths, and that with cares. For there is no king.
There's what?
For there is no king.
There is no king. Read on.
That had any other beginning of birth.
See that? Now that's a cut. There's no king that had any other beginning of birth. It's not Yahweh Shai, the king of the Jews. Right? So he had the same beginning of birth. And give me John 19.
The book of John, chapter 19 and verse 19.
Right.
And it reads thus. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross. And the writing was, Yahweh Shai of Nazareth, the King of the Jews.
The what?
The King of the Jews.
The King of the Jews. So Yahweh Shai is the King of the Jews. Right? So to draw that parallel, he had to have the beginning of birth as all other kings on earth. And that's plain upon table. So the Son of Man is Yahweh Shai.
I got a point. I got the definition of son of man from the Merriam dictionary. It just says a human being, right? Yeah. So it's like, he was born like any other man on the earth. Right? It says often capitalized S. It says God's Messiah destined to preside over the final judgment of mankind. Right? So son of man is the title of Hamashiach Yahushua. Get Luke 22, start at verse 20.
And real quick, in all men.
Yeah.
This brother Abad is the Son of Man. Right? Tazadah. Right? Every brother in this room, man.
Ezekiel.
You're sons of men.
It's in the title. He's a son of man. Right? Bring it up.
The book of St. Luke, chapter 22 and verse 20.
Right?
And it reads thus. Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
Right, this is Hamashiach Yahushua speaking, right? Read.
But, behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table.
Right, read.
And truly the Son of Man goeth.
He's saying truly who?
The Son of Man goeth.
Right, he's talking about himself. Right, read.
As it was determined But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed.
Right, he's talking about himself, saying the Son of Man is going to be betrayed. So that's just another title of Hamashiach Yahushua, right? Like when you read in Revelation 1 and 13, it says, I seen one like unto the Son of Man clothed with the garment down to the foot. Right, that's literally talking about Hamashiach Yahushua. You see that capitalized S right there in the New Testament. Right, get the book of, another one, get Matthew. Right, just to show that he came from the sea. Or actually, let's get, get Psalms 132 and verse number 11.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 132 and verse 11, and reads thus.
Right.
The Lord has sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne.
Right, so he told David, out of the fruit of your body, I'm going to set upon your throne. Right, what is the fruit of David's body? It's talking about his offspring. Right? Because Hamashiach Yahushua is the offspring of David. Right, get, I believe I want Matthew. There's so many precepts on it. I'm going to try to pull one of brother didn't get dragged. You all got Romans 1 to 3, right?
I got one quick precept real quick.
You can bring it up.
This Psalm chapter 127 and verse 3. It say, lo, children are inheritance of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of mighty man, so are children of thy youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. I mean, we know what that's talking about, man. Right? You should know. It say, they shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Right? So that's the fruit of your body, man. That's your seed.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 16.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 2 and verse 16, and it reads thus. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels.
Right, so he did not take the nature of angels. Read.
But he took on him the seed of Abraham.
Right, so he took on for himself the seed of Abraham. Right, so he's literally saying, I'm not like coming like an angel, I'm coming in a human-like form. Right, that's why Son of Man, being a human being, is one of his titles. Right, get 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 8.
Book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 8, and it reads thus. Remember that Yahushua HaMashiach of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel.
See, I said, remember Yahushua HaMashiach, the man that comes from David, right, his sperm line, right, that he was risen up. Right, so that's plain. Right, he's the Son of Man.
Quick precept. This guy's get Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1. Right? So all these precepts, these are also cut from immaculate conception. There's no such thing. Right? That's Catholicism, that's dogma. Right, bring this out, brother.
The book of Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 1, and reads thus. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots.
Who is the branch? Yahushua. That's John chapter 15, verse 3 on down. Read on.
And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
Right? And that's what it means when he said he found of the Holy Ghost, or found of the Holy Spirit. Meaning the spirit of wisdom was upon Yahushua as a child. That's why he sat among the elders. What's that? Luke the 2nd chapter. Right? He said, look, I must be about my father's business. Right? So Yahushua was always on a level. He was always on a high level, even from a child, because the spirit of wisdom was upon him.
It's like the same thing with John. I just wanted to say that the same thing with John.
Yeah.
John was birth of the Holy Spirit.
That's right, bro.
His parents were Zechariah and Elizabeth.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Keep reading.
The Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord.
Right, so Yahushua was of quick understanding. That's why he was a child, man, doing the work of the Lord, sitting among the doctors and the lawyers, right, confounding them with questions, with their understanding. They was astonished. They were like, oh, this young guy, this man is bringing out the word. He's truly the Son of God. Read on.
in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes.
Right?
Neither
That's why the Lord said, judge not by appearance. Right? You know, what's that? John chapter 7. Judge not by appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Right? So the Lord, he's seeing your spirit. Right? The Lord knew the thoughts of man. Right? The Lord knew everything, man.
Right.
Right? So that's what it means when he say, he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes. Read on.
neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
Shall he what?
Shall he slay the wicked.
Right? And the Lord is coming back to slay the evil and the wicked. Right? So again, the Son of Man is talking about Yahweh Shai. That's plain upon tables. Go back to Matthew the 25th chapter. Brothers understand that?
Khan.
Oh, praise. Right?
Book of Matthew, St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him.
And all the what?
And all the holy angels with him.
And all the holy angels with them. Because the angels are coming back with Yahweh Shai when he invades the earth. Give me Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 15. They speaking about an alien invasion. No, that's the Lord coming back with the mighty angels, the host of heaven.
It's the book of Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 15. Thou didst walk through the sea with thine horses.
Right, when they say the Lord walked through this, a horse can't walk through the sea, first of all. Right, so this is all spiritual. Thou didst walk through the sea with the horses. The sea represents the nations. Give me that in Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. So the Lord is going to walk through the nations with the horses, which are the chariots. So he's going to invade these different countries, these different lands, bring about death and destruction.
Book of Revelation chapter 17 and verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree.
17 and 15.
I'm sorry. Verse 15.
Right.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples.
Are what?
Are peoples.
Right, so the horde Esau is sitting upon these different nations. Read on.
And multitudes, and nations, and tongues.
Right, so again, the waters represents the different nations. And give me Isaiah chapter 57 and verse 20. So again, this is all parabolic. These are similitudes, metaphorical speaking. And this is how the Most High talk to his children in hip talk.
The book of Isaiah
They
chapter
call it informal language. Slang, ebonics. You know, they got some new African American vernacular. Bring this up.
Isaiah 57 and verse 20, and it reads thus. But the wicked are like the troubled sea.
What the Bible say?
But the wicked are like the troubled sea, when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt.
And their waters cast up mire and dirt. That's talking about their doctrines and what they believe in. Right? Because you got the Chinese man, he believe in eating bets. Right? Bet soup, huh? Right? I seen one Moabite, he ate a rat, man. He actually ate the rat and snapped his head off. And all hell broke loose. Right?
I saw a Moabite cutting up a turtle, man.
Yeah, I seen it.
I saw there was a whole documentary about stingrays.
Yeah.
And they was cutting off their arms and eating them.
Yeah, I seen Esau eat a stingray as well, man. You know, so all hell be breaking loose among these nations. Their waters, meaning what they believe in, their doctrines cast up mire and dirt. It's filthy. Yeah. At one point in time, we used to drink in these waters. What's that, in 2 Kings? I can't think of it. Give me Isaiah 19 and 12.
This one is Jeremiah.
Dug and drunk strange waters.
Book of Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 12. Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath purposed upon Egypt.
That's Isaiah 19 and 12.
Yes.
Get 17 and 12.
Book of Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 12, and it reads thus. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas.
See that? So the people, the nations, they make a noise like the noise of the seas. Right? They're loud, they're belligerent, they're boisterous, right? Read on. Maybe
Into
they
the-
had the power. Read on.
Into the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. Salaki.
Now give me Isaiah 59 and 19. These are all precepts proving that the nations represent the waters.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 59. Salaki, what verse again?
19.
Verse 19, and it reads thus. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a
What
flood.
the Bible say?
When the enemy shall come in like a
It
flood.
say the enemy is going to come in like a flood. This is doing Jacob's trouble. Right? When you read 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, they're going to be busting down our doors, casting out the men of the Lord from their homes, spoiling and destroying them, casting them into prison. Right? So the enemy is going to come in like a flood, similar to SWAT. When SWAT come and break your door down, and man, they everywhere throughout that house in a matter of a minute. Right there in your basement, right there in your attic, right there all throughout your kitchen, right? They in everything, man. So they come in like a flood, like the waters. So when your house gets flooded, man, hey, that water is everywhere throughout your house. Read on.
The Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him.
Right? And the Spirit of the Lord is going to lift up a standard against him. The Lord is going to protect and guide the men of the Lord in those troublous times. And give me Psalm chapter 18, verse 4.
Book of Psalms, chapter 18 and verse 4, and it reads thus. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid.
And the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So we're going to be persecuted. We're going to have the floods of ungodly men coming in, trying to destroy the men of the Lord. Read on.
The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me.
Right? So that's it on that. So the point is, the nations, they represent the water. Right? Go back to what you had, King.
That Isaiah 50.
Get Matthew chapter 25, verse 31.
Just
Oh,
3 and
Habakkuk
15.
3 and 15. So like,
Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 15, and it reads thus. Thou didst walk through the sea with thine horses.
right? So the Lord is coming back in his chariots to destroy the nations. Read on.
Through the heap of great waters.
Right? And real quick, matter of fact, just read it, then I'll go back to it. Break it down. You got it.
When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops.
He will do what?
He will invade them with his troops.
Right? Say he will invade them with his troops, man. Right? So that's why Esau is creating a space force. Right? To fight against the Lord and the angels when the Lord make his second coming. Right? Now give me 2 Kings chapter 2. So like 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 15. Going into the horses. Right? Because the horses are the chariots. This might get that precept too where it say horses, they don't turn away from any war. That's in Job. Yeah, bring this out.
The book of 2 Kings,
Because
chapter
real quick, horses, they run to the battle. You're not going to see a horse fleeing away from the battle. They actually run toward danger. Right? And that's what the chariot is going to do, man. That's what when they come back to invade America and these different lands, they're going to run toward the danger. Right? And they're not going to be in danger, man. You got Esau to say, he's shooting down chariots. He shot the unidentified aerial phenomenon out the air. No, he didn't. Right? We don't believe that, man.
No, you did.
Right? That's a myth. Bring this up.
That's right.
the book of 2 Kings, chapter 6 and verse 15. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
Right, read on.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses.
Full of
and-
what?
Full of horses.
Full of horses. Read on.
And chariots of fire.
And what?
And chariots of fire.
Chariots of fire. Read on.
Round about Elisha.
See that? So it's full of horses and chariots of fire. Right? Go ahead, brother.
I got a quick point because you know, Esau called, you know, fast cars, they call it horsepower. Chariots are called horses because they got power, they got strength. They move fast. As you read it, what is it, Psalms 103?
Yeah.
It say, let's just get it. Psalms 103 verse 4.
Psalm 104:3.
104 verse 3. So
The book of Psalms, chapter 104, and verse number 3, and it reads thus.
bring it out.
Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters? Who maketh the clouds his chariot?
Who maketh the what?
Who maketh the clouds his chariot?
And you should see how fast those chariots go through those clouds, man. They're not moving at the speed of sound like Esau jets. They move at the speed of light, right? So, hey, that's that horsepower. I just want to get that point real quick. You got it.
Yeah.
Who walketh upon the wings of the wind?
Who walketh upon the wings of the wind. And these chariots can do a lot of different miraculous things, man. You know, they can, you know, what can they do, brother?
They can, like I say, it said, what is it? It said the mountains, I believe it's in Zechariah, between the two mountains, they can teleport.
Yeah. Teleport.
They can be at,
Turn
they
invisible.
can duplicate,
Shrink. You know.
they can go under the waters,
They shoot fire.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so these chariots can do a lot of miraculous things. Keep reading, brother.
Technology way above.
Yeah, Esau technology is low level, man. That's old technology. Right, the Lord gave that to them so they can be puffed up in their pride, so he can destroy them. Right, give me Romans 9:17 on that. Just imagine, man. You think you can destroy the Lord. Just imagine how sick and demented you have to be to think you can overthrow the Son of Man.
You have a chance.
To even have a chance. Right?
It's literally no chance.
Bring this up.
The book of Romans,
Oh yeah, these chariots also got force fields.
Yeah.
They got force fields. So, I mean, what can you do with that? You gonna shoot through the force field?
I'm not
They
sure.
put it
Yeah, bring that out. Bring that out. You got it, brother.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 17, and it reads thus. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee.
See that's why the Lord raised up the so-called white man to the heights of heaven, to believe that he's God on the earth, to believe that he's the most valiant man walking the earth, that he can destroy all these different nations. He's so puffed up in his pride that he believes that he can destroy the Lord. Yahweh. I mean, keep reading.
Therefore, Salaki, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
That's right. So when the Lord destroys the so-called white man, his name is going to be declared throughout all the earth. And like, man, yeah, that power, the power of the Israelites, man, he destroyed the so-called white man. He took down chariots. So like he took down their horses. He took down their fighter jets, their helicopters. He destroyed their missiles. He destroyed everything, man. So the name of the Lord is going to be magnified in that day. Because people, they forgot about the Lord. They forgot about the acts of the Most High. Yeah, bring that up.
Since the father's been asleep.
Yeah, bring that up. 2 Peter.
Appreciate it.
You got it, brother.
Got a precept on chariots. Second Maccabees chapter 10, verse 29. The second Maccabees 10, 29. You gotta bring it out.
I'm sorry.
Second Maccabees 10 and 29.
Second Maccabees 3 and 29.
10.
29.
Right? So this is the power of the chariots, man.
Second Maccabees chapter 10 and verse 29, and it reads thus. But when the battle waxed strong, there appeared unto the enemies from heaven 5 comely men upon horses.
And so like real quick, these 5 comely men, these are angels. Right?
God, these are angels appearing in chariots. Right, that's why it says from heaven. They appear from the sky. Right, read.
From heaven 5 comely men upon horses, with bridles of gold, and 2 of them led the Jews,
So you had 2 who led the Jews, right, read.
and took Maccabeus betwixt them,
Right, so they had Maccabees in between them, read.
and covered him on every side weapons, and kept them safe, but shot arrows and lightnings against the enemies, so that being confounded with blindness and full of trouble, they were killed.
Like, so you had Judas Maccabees in the middle of these two chariots, and they kept them safe. They was destroying the enemies surrounding them. They put it in a force field around them, man. Start shooting lasers and destroying the enemy. Right? They actually witnessed this, man. The Greeks, they're like, what the hell? Like, all hell broke loose, man. Right? So these angels, man, they can do some, like I said, miraculous thing, kind of disappeared in the middle of the battle. Right? You read that when you look into the history of Alexander the Great, man.
Yeah.
Right? They kind of seen the flying shields come out the sky and knock down the wall of Tyre.
Yep.
Right? That's actual history, man. The Tyre, and then the Greeks actually brought it out. Two separate accounts from two different people.
Yep. Two witnesses. This is Second Maccabees chapter 15 and verse 7. But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help him. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty. Right, so you got to remember the help that comes from heaven, man. That help that comes from heaven is talking about the Lord and the angels, right? So go back to that, King, in Matthew the 25th chapter. I believe it's another one in Judges, where it says the stars. Let me see if I can find this. Lord, bear with me. Right, because this is a mighty precept, right? You got it, others.
You can get the book of Psalms, chapter 125 and verse 2. You start at verse 1, actually.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Judges 5.
The book of Psalms, chapter 125, and verse 2.
You start at verse 1.
Oh, okay. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion,
Shall be as who?
shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed,
Which shall not be what?
which cannot be removed.
Which cannot be removed. Because the Lord, and he don't cast away his people. You can continue.
But abideth forever, as the mountains are round about Jerusalem.
Because we're, Jerusalem is known for a lot of mountains. You can continue. That was our defense in warfare. Right, you got it.
As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people.
So is who?
So the Lord is round about his people.
And that's how the Lord protects our people, man. It's with the chariots, so-called UFOs, the angels,
Right.
all these spiritual mountains that the Lord got to protect his people. We got a lot of spiritual things that the Lord got to protect his people. Right? Who said what?
You got it.
From henceforth, even forever.
I just wanted to bring out that point. And it's another one in Isaiah. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Isaiah 31 and 15. But it says, as the birds fly. Let me see. 31 and 5. Isaiah 31 and 5.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 31, and verse 5, and it reads thus. As birds flying.
As who?
As birds flying.
Because birds fly in V formation. That's what the army got that from. They got it from the scriptures. They got it from the Lord. They, the army, the military, they use V formation, you know, to attack the enemies. You got it.
As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it. And passing over, he will preserve it.
And that's how the Lord's going to deliver his people, by the chariots, man. You read about that in Revelation, the 11th chapter. Get a Revelation 11 and verse, I think it's verse 12.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11, and verse 12, and it reads thus. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither.
Come up where?
Come up hither.
Come up hither. And you gonna read that in Matthew the 25th chapter, where the Lord is gonna separate his people. And the Lord is doing that now in these last days. He's separating the men of the Lord, the elect, the women of the Lord of Israel from the other nations and from the 2/3. Right, you got it.
And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud.
In a what?
In a cloud.
And it's not a condensed cloud. This is not the clouds that you see up in the sky. It's not a rain cloud. It's a chariot. We just read about that in Psalms 104, verse 3.
That's right, brother.
The Lord's heavenly vehicles are known as clouds in the scriptures. They're known as horses. They're known as mountains. They're known as roads. You got a point?
Yeah, I got a precept, right? Give me Judges
It's a
chapter.
little more than that.
There's more than that. You got it, brother.
Let me go back. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven.
Get Judges chapter 5, verse 20, another precept of the chariots. Right? Because again, when the men of the Lord and the prophets seen these things, they didn't know what to describe it as. So they say horses, clouds, even stars. We're about to bring it out. Judges chapter 5, verse 20.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, and verse 20. They fought from heaven.
They did what?
They fought from
They
heaven.
say they fought from the heavens. Read on.
The stars.
The what?
The stars.
Man, can stars actually fight? No, man. This is talking about the chariots, the angels. They fought from heaven. The stars, read on.
And their courses fought against Sisera.
Right, fought against the Canaanites, man. Fought against the Hamitic nations. Right, so we always had help from heaven. Give me Psalms chapter 34 and verse 7. Right? A lot of the times we had help from heaven. We defeated the nations, man. Going to war, chasing 1,000, chasing tens of thousands. We had the chariots helping us as well.
Even when we came out of Egypt, we had the pillar of fire.
Yeah.
What was that one precept of the B formation, Isaiah?
Isaiah 31:5.
Right. And when you look in Judges 5 and 20 in the Zondervan, I don't got my Zondervan right now, but it tells you that there was a heavenly protection. Right? Now who's the heavenly protection? The angels. Right? I bring it out, Psalms 34 and 7.
Book of Psalms, chapter 34, and verse
When
7.
I read that, it kind of blew my mind. Like, oh, praises, man. That's another precept. Right? You got it, brother.
Psalms 34 and 7 reads thus: The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them.
Right.
Oh,
That's it on that. Now, and out of the this is the NASB translation. It say the stars fought from heaven, from their paths they fought against Caesarea. Right, so again, stars can't actually fight, right? They can't throw their dukes up, right, and square up, you know, and kind of give you the 1-2, two-piece and a biscuit. That's not what's going on, man. That's talking about the angels fighting against these different nations.
it's funny because even when we at camp and we look up, they look like stars.
That's why stars, yeah.
It's moving.
So the chariots are also known as stars,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
right?
They actually look like stars.
Sometimes we get in the States, that's stars and a chariot.
Right.
You know, they look more like stars than anything, man. Right, so that's talking about the angels. Yeah, precept.
No, you
Come
go back.
You go back to Matthew the 25th chapter and the 31st verse.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse 31 again. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Right, so the Lord is going to sit upon the throne, man. He's going to take down all these different nations. He's going to be the one with the throne, right? Read on.
And before him shall be gathered all nations,
All nations, read on.
and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats.
Right, so the scriptures also say that the Lord is coming back to cause division. Give me Luke 12 and 51. The Lord is not coming back to just gather all nations for love and peace and happiness. And it's like a huge utopia, and we all one. And the caravan of love. That's not what the Lord is coming back to do, man. You got it, brother.
St. Luke chapter 12 and verse 51. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division.
But what?
But rather
He
division.
said, I tell ye nay, but rather division, man. So the Lord is coming back to divide all nations of the earth, right? Segregation is coming back on the earth, man. We're with segregation. We agree with that. You know, it's cool. We like the concept of it. It's a good idea because guess what? The Most High created segregation, right? Going back to Genesis, the 11th chapter, during the Tower of Babel, he confounded the languages of different men. If the Lord wanted us all one, we would have had the same language. We all would have looked the same. We all would have dressed the same. We lived in the same land. The Lord is not dealing with that, right? We all have different languages. That's a separation tactic and tool for man. Because we can't understand what the Chinese man is saying. So we're not supposed to, how can we communicate with somebody if we don't know what they're talking about? So that's an act of separation right there. Likewise, when we speak the Hebrew, they're like, what's going on with these guys? What are they saying? Oh, just a bunch of Africans. Right? Right? You got it, brother.
Yeah, I got to separate them. He literally divided us when he saw us together.
That's right. Yeah, because hey, when all nations come together in one big melting pot, you got interracial marriage, you got all manner of just sickness going on, man.
You got America.
You got America.
Right.
You got Babylon the Great. You know, you thinking that's a Jake, but it's really an Edomite. Thinking that's an Edomite, but it's really a Jake. It's just confusion, man.
It's a woman's really.
Yeah. I ain't want to say it, but yeah, man. God, right? So it's he's also that shepherd that divided his sheep from the goats. Give me 1 Peter 2:25. And again, the Lord always using husbandry and farming and agriculture.
Book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 25.
Right?
And it reads thus. For ye were as sheep going astray.
For ye were as sheep going astray. That's talking about the Israelites. The sheep is Israel. Right? The goats represents 2/3 in the other nations, man. The heathen, right? The white man, the Chinese, right? They're considered the goats as well.
That's right.
Right? You got it, brother.
And also, you look at the characteristics, like the physical characteristics of a sheep and a goat, it looks different. You know, a sheep got the woolly hair, and that goat, you know, got the straight hair. Even though, like, the characteristics don't really matter, it's really about the spirit, but that just show you a good example. You know, because the goats look like Esau. And the sheep look like the Israelites.
Israelite, that's right. That's right. They got that stringy hair. You got it, brother.
Yeah, they use goats for like devilish symbols and stuff.
The Baphomet demon.
That's true.
Right? Yeah, look that up if you can.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Look at the all.
Yeah, you gotta
Turn that projector on. Right, so you got the Baphomet training demon. Right? And they use a goat, man. You see Jake with the goat chain, brother, what are you doing, brother? Take that damn chain off, man. Now you might say, well, a goat is not wicked, brother. You know, it's an animal that the Lord created. What it symbolizes is wickedness.
Also,
Yeah, bro.
a goat is more like rebellious and proud. A sheep is more humble. You look at the goats, they real stubborn, they weren't ready to fight, they be going off. They be doing their own thing. A sheep needs to be quiet. A sheep is humble, it's soft. You know, it's righteous. Goat is wicked, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point, brother. Right, so you got the goats being rebellious. You gotta kind of beat them, you know, in righteousness. Right, pop them. Right, and then you got the sheep. They just do whatever you say. So Israel, we're that nation.
Just gotta chastise the goat.
Wasn't the goat symbolic to sin anyway? Because I believe in the law, wasn't the priest supposed to take the go out into the wilderness? And, I forgot what chapter.
Scapegoat.
16.
That ain't good point, brother.
Damn, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a great brother. Brother on fire. Right?
Oh yeah, 16 and 22 or 21.
God, bring that out. Leviticus 16 and 21.
Gotta upgrade the technology, man.
Right, so that scapegoat.
Book of Leviticus,
Yeah, like the brother said, the law is spiritual.
chapter
Everything in the law is
16
spiritual.
and verse 21.
How can you understand the new if you can't understand the old?
See that?
You got it, bro.
Leviticus chapter 16 and verse 21, and it reads thus. And Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel.
Right, all the sin, all the folly. of the children of Israel. Read on.
In all their transgressions, in all their sins,
Right.
putting them upon the head of the goat.
Right. So that sin pretty much transfers or transfers to the head of that goat. Right. Read on.
And shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness.
Right.
And the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited. And he shall let go the goat in the wilderness.
See that? So again, like the brother brought out, that
That's
goat
hard.
is symbolic for that sin.
Yeah, that's how.
It's not gonna stop
Scapegoat.
fucking up.
It's not, boy. Right. So pretty much, man, it's not popping up, but you got that Baphomet demon, right? And that's a goat, man. When you see goats, you like, that's wickedness,
Talk
man.
about that one thing with the goat.
Yeah.
And they be doing that. They got a statue down there.
Nobody got no
I
hot
don't
spot.
know I got that two finger shit.
Right. But go ahead, brother.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Kane.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick point. Even in the the music industry, all the sin and wickedness they doing, they call themselves the GOAT. Yeah, I'm the GOAT.
Yeah.
They literally say they the GOAT.
I believe it was one, what was that, NBA young boy, right, kind of had the goat,
Yeah.
the horn,
Rollo.
dreads.
Go chain.
Another brother, he a brother, but
Yeah.
another dude named Rollo, he had a damn album called Goat in Human Form.
With the
I
goat
ain't
body.
Goat body.
Wow.
Yeah, Lil Uzi had the goat. He had Rollo.
The devil got horns like a goat.
Yeah, Polo G.
Yeah, you can show the.
Make it look there.
So goats, they pretty much their mind ain't right.
You can pull it up.
Even in Greek mythology, they have them goat mans.
Yeah. Then when Esau conduct his rituals, he put on goat masks.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of folly. You got it, brother.
Yeah, I had a precept. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, and verse number 26. And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove. And of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
Right, and that sheep, chiefly that's talking about Israel. Right, because we're the Lord's favorite people. And also, it's a precept of Michael. We gonna
Images
get that.
or Wikipedia?
Just go to images. Baphomet.
Pork time.
So this is Baphomet, the androgynous demon.
That's the first phrase.
Oh yeah, and Black China, she got her Baphomet tattoo removed, man. All praise to the Most High God.
Oh, Doja Cat just got that tattoo on her.
I believe she's a heathen. So,
I got a quick point too. You can get Matthew chapter 10 and verse 14.
You said Matthew 10,
Come,
verse 14.
come.
This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 14, and it reads thus. And whosoever shall not receive you,
10 and verse 14. John.
Oh.
John 10, 14.
the book of John, chapter 10, and verse 14, and it reads thus. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father.
right.
And I lay down my life for the sheep.
Come, jump down to 27.
Verse 27. My sheep hear my voice.
My what?
My sheep hear my voice.
Why didn't the Lord say my goat hear my voice? Or my cattle, my pig? He said my sheep hear my voice. Right? Because the Lord said not to cast your pearls before swine. Right? So all these animals have certain characteristics that the Lord may see. You know.
Yeah, real quick. This is not literal sheep and goats, man. This is talking about man.
Come.
Right, let me clarify that. Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 18. Right, because you got certain men, they read this, no brother, it's an actual sheep, it's a goat. No brother, no brother. Right? It's talking about man on the earth. Right? So you got the Israelites and you got the 2/3 in the wicked heathen. Get Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 18.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 18, and reads thus. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
What is man?
Are beasts.
Are beasts. So man is personified as a beast. You got it, brother.
Psalms 94, Psalms 49 and 4.
Come on.
Book of Psalms,
I appreciate it.
49 and 4.
Book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 4. And it reads thus: I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp.
So this is the dark saying. You understand? It's similar to a parable in the dark saying. You understand? So people understand that and you understand the scripture.
That's right, brother.
Give verse 20.
Yeah, like,
Verse 20, and it reads thus: Man that is in honor and understandeth not.
Man that is in honor and understandeth not. You got a lot of people that's in honor right now. So-called white man, right? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, right? You got these people that's in honor, right? Read on.
And understandeth not.
But they don't got the understanding. Right here it is, Joe Biden said he wants to lick the world, man. So his mind isn't right, man. Read on. It's the mind.
It's like the beasts that perish.
It's like the what?
It's like the beasts that perish.
It's like the beast that perish, man. So there's really no difference between Joe Biden and the beast, man.
At all.
They're one and the same. They're equivalent. Right? You got it, brother.
Yeah, get the book of Job, chapter 18, verse 3.
That's right. That's right.
Job 18 and verse 3.
That's right, brother.
The book of Job, chapter 18, and verse 3, and it reads thus:
Right?
Wherefore are we counted as beasts?
What the Lord say?
Wherefore are we counted as
He
beasts,
said, we counted as beasts, read.
and reputed vile in your sight?
Right, and the nations are always been nothing.
That's
The
right.
Lord said Esau's violent in the earth.
That's right.
Right, so beasts are foul in the Lord's sight. How much more Esau when he said they're violent in the earth? Right, now look up our goat stubborn animals on Google. Right, we just want to pull that up real quick. Just to, show when you're walking, I was bringing up.
You said what type of beast?
Yeah, just type in our goats, stubborn animals.
It's on Google, right?
Yeah, Google.
I appreciate that.
We want to pull this up real quick. Fact check that. Now go to, so right there it says, goats have a reputation for being stubborn and misbehaved. Right, so they're stubborn, misbehaving creatures. But you see where it says, are goats hard-headed?
Yes.
Open that up. Right, it says, they have deserved reputation of being hard-headed and curious to a fault. Right, so goats are hard, and then man is curious, man. Wicked man is curious into, exploring human sexuality and their gender identities and all that madness, man. Right, to be a transformer, you have to be curious. I wonder what it's like to be a girl. But you gotta ride, man. Right? See, that's what like I said, you're thinking like a goat, man.
You said you're curious?
Yeah, you're curious, man. You're hard-headed, you're stubborn, you misbehave. You just kind of one of this explorer. So the Lord said you gotta kind of, I want the sheep that's gonna listen, that's gonna hear my voice. That's kind of cool. I kind of want to toss these down.
Look
Goats
up
already.
sheep. See, Esau is truthful.
Chris said they're not stupid. That really popped up.
See, Esau don't want to, go into what the sheeps are about.
Yeah, if you say our sheep, stubborn animals, nothing pops up. They just say they're not stupid and
Well, that tells you, hey, they're not stubborn.
right here it says they are gentle, sensitive animals
Right.
who are emotionally complex and highly. Is that it right there, Rita? Oh yeah, I ain't got that right here.
It says sheep are portrayed as helpless, often stubborn animals. They need someone who provides food, water, and protection against predators. They can't take care of themselves, and as today's verse points out, they tend to stray if not kept in check by a shepherd.
Yeah, I got a point on that. That is true.
That's Israel.
Like Israel is stubborn, but we need guidance, man.
They're not known for being
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they if they got guidance and protection, they just follow it.
Cause really,
But without that shepherd,
Right.
it is out there.
Right.
The goats can have a shepherd and
And
really
still
not give
be-
a damn.
yeah.
They stubborn still, misbehave and
I
curious.
hate each other.
Whereas sheep, they need somebody to feed them. They need a shepherd, man.
Those goats-
That's why when the Lord got rid of our priests, the Lord got rid of our law, the Lord got rid of our nation. Look at our people, man. We need guidance. So that's just the characteristics of Israel. That's mighty right there. We got predators on this one.
Yeah.
We get devoured.
Yeah.
Goats hate each other too. They be trying to actually hurt each other.
They be
banging.
You got a precept law.
nah. Oh yeah, I do got a precept. Give me 1 Corinthians 15:34. Right now it's 15.
All right.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 34. And it reads, awake to righteousness and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of Yahweh. I speak this to your shame.
So like 32.
32. If after the manner of men I have fought with beasts at Ephesus, what advantageth it me if the dead rise not? Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die.
I fought with beasts in Ephesus.
Arguing with them.
Give me Luke chapter 18, verse 4. Right, so all these precepts are proving that man is beast. Right, these are the sheep and the goats, man, wicked man and righteous man.
The book of St. Luke, chapter 18 and verse 4, and it reads thus. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me.
Right.
And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?
Right, and that's a mighty precept. It's not what I wanted, but the scriptures say the Lord hath given us power to tread over scorpions and serpents.
Precepts going into bring it out still. No, I was just saying that the precept is brought out still, because read that last part again, the last scripture.
St. Luke chapter 18 and verse 8.
Right?
I tell you that he will avenge them speedily.
Right?
Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?
Right, so he's coming to find that faith in the earth. He's coming to cause that division, to separate the righteous from the unrighteous. Right, so that's a good parallel for that scripture, regardless.
Luke 10 to 19, I think it's from Malachi.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah,
The book of Luke chapter 10 and verse 19, and it reads thus.
Right?
Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions.
Right, serpents and scorpions. Right, so this is talking about man. It's also talking about spirits as well, man. Different demons. Right, so the Lord said he give us power to tread over these serpents and scorpions. Read on.
And over all the power of the enemy.
Talking about the white man. Read on.
And nothing shall by any means hurt you.
And nothing shall by any means hurt you. Read on.
Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven.
Because your what?
Because your names are written in
We
heaven.
want our names to be written in the heavens.
Oh, praise.
Give me Luke chapter 13 and verse. The Lord said, go and tell that fox. Luke 32, yeah, that's what it is. The what, brother? Right? Luke chapter 13, verse 32.
St. Luke chapter 13, verse 32, and it reads thus.
Right?
And he said unto them, go ye and tell that fox.
Do what?
Go tell that fox.
Go tell that fox. So Yahweh Shah called Herod a fox. Look up the characteristics of a fox. Right? Because foxes, they're real cunning, conniving, sneaky. Right? They kind of sneak up on you. You out camping and the damn fox just kind of sneak up in your tent. Looking for the food, man. What does it say? Read that.
Are they sneaky?
Okay.
It's like Dora.
Yeah, swiping, no swiping.
Right.
Yeah, like Dora, brother. Swiping, no swiping.
Right.
So, hey,
You say carrots.
what it said?
Foxes have a reputation of being cunning or sly. Now, scientists think they have an uncanny ability to use Earth's magnetic field to hunt their prey. Why is fox called sly?
It said they're sly. Look up that definition of sly. You
Sly.
don't want to be called sly, man.
At all.
You know. Now you can be sly in righteousness, but you know, nonetheless, they get a bad reputation, man.
Sly in a Google definition.
Pretty much a slime ball. Yeah, brother.
Having or showing a cunning and deceitful nature.
A what?
Having or showing a cunning and deceitful
So
nature.
they got a cunning,
Clever.
real deceitful nature. Like on Dora. You know, he kind of came out, you know, he's sneaking up trying to get the berries. Right? Yeah, man.
He said he's tricky.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, he used to try to trick Dora all the time.
Yeah.
Damn certain.
Yeah. Yeah, equivalent.
A little bit right into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's a fox.
There's always a fox. So foxes are cunning. So Yahweh Shah called Herod fox, man. Those are fighting words in the ancient world.
Con.
He could have got put to death for that, but it wasn't his time.
That's right.
Sly.
Right? So he said, go and tell that fox. And he didn't go and tell that fox. And,
Right.
you know, he said, go and tell that fox, man.
Con.
Read on.
Behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures today and tomorrow. And the third day I shall be perfected.
That's right. That's it on that. Now get Baruch chapter 3, verse 16. Another precept. It's 1,000 precepts on it.
Baruch 3 and verse 16.
That's right.
And it reads thus: Where are the princes of the heathen become? And such as ruled the beast upon the earth. They that had their pastime with the fowls of the air, and they that hoarded up silver and gold, wherein men trust, and made no end of their getting.
Now get second Esdras, I believe is 8 and 29.
Second Ezra chapter 8 and verse 29. Let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law.
Right, so again, man lives like beasts on the earth. Get Daniel 4:33. Right, so I mean it's evident. That's why Jake called the coppers the pigs.
Right.
Right, because they're likened unto a pig. They're greedy. Right, you know they
eat
reputation
everything.
of being fat. What's the reputation like the you know ideal look of a cop? Fat with a donut,
Pink.
White fat boy.
white fat man, Paul Blart,
Pink fat man.
Paul Blart,
Right.
boy, with a pink neck,
Eating
eating a
donuts
donut with sprinkles on it.
and coffee.
Yeah, with coffee. You know. Yeah. They kind of in the mall with when they things the scooters.
Yeah,
Man. They have the scooters.
God, the Segway.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the helmet.
You got it, brother.
Titus 1 and 12.
Titus chapter 1 verse 2.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 12, and it reads thus: One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, The Christians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies.
Yeah. Slow bellies, man. Now give me you want to break it down, brother?
Oh, they beasts.
Yeah.
Man or beast.
That's man or beast.
That's right. It's like I,
Give me Luke chapter Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 27. Let's go to the dietary law, man.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 27, and it reads thus: And whatsoever goeth upon his paws,
Whatsoever goeth upon his paws, I seen one video. It was an Edomite woman. She was kind of going upon her paws,
Like,
man. And she was moving fast with it too, like an actual dog, man. Like an actual dog on the earth, like a German Shepherd, like a Rottweiler, a Labrador,
gorilla.
you know.
A gorilla.
What's the dogs, brother? A bully, a Frenchie,
Hey, Corso.
a pit bull,
Hey,
a
Corso.
pug. you know, a Labrador,
Yorkie.
much. You got it, brother.
Chihuahua. Shih Tzu. Even with the movie Split, you had the man on there. He was called a beast. One of his personalities came
Yup,
out.
the beast, yup.
Wow.
Yeah,
He was
he
tripping.
called the beast, man.
Scriptures say,
Hey, the wild man was a beast.
Right.
yeah, the wild man Esau, right?
Ishmael.
Yeah, Ishmael.
Caveman.
Give me
Ishmael, bro. That's crazy.
keep reading on it. Let's watch Leviticus.
Leviticus 11 and verse 27. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you.
What the Lord say?
Those are unclean unto
So
you.
these nations are unclean, man.
That's right.
Right? The pigs, the foxes, right? The dogs, they're unclean unto us.
Snakes.
The snakes, the serpents. Right? Now give me Psalm 59 and 14.
The book of Psalms, chapter 59 and verse 14. And it reads thus. And at evening, let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog.
Let them do what?
Let them make a noise like a dog.
So Esau make a noise like a dog, man. Right? They barking. Right? Especially when Esau get drunk, man. They get drunk, they off their Budweisers.
Right.
Right? They start barking. They start getting belligerent. They in everybody's face like a damn dog, man. You know, a dog just run up on anybody, a stranger, they kind of just running up on you. Right? And that's the spirit of the so-called white man.
That's right.
Right? So let them make a noise like a dog and do what?
And go round about the city.
And go round about it. Just running around the city, man. Being wicked. Yeah, like vagabonds, licking up their own vomit. Get Proverbs 26 and 11. Just nasty. Dogs are unclean, man. You got Esau say, well, no, dog mouth is clean. Like, he gonna get wrong. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Get Proverbs 26 and 11.
Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 11 reads.
Even when I was young, I'm like, I don't know, man. This dog breath, all these things. They just go this
Yeah, for real.
you know?
Right? It should be on books. Right, it'd be, you know.
Proverbs 26 and 11.
And it reads thus. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his father.
And I actually seen a dog do that, man.
Yeah.
My uncle dog, he kind of earled, then he licked it up. I said, what the hell is he doing? He said, oh, no, he good. He good.
No, I heard my
I've
dog
ever
used to
seen
do that too all the time.
Yeah.
We have to hurry up and clean it up. She would sneak it trying to eat it.
Yeah, I said, what is this dog doing? He said, nah, he good.
Sneaking.
He said, wow. You know? So dogs actually lick up their own vomit.
They
Dogs actually,
literally do that.
yeah.
I've seen it like 100 times. My little dog used to always do that. My little dog used to always do that. We used to kind of have to hurry up and clean it up.
Yeah.
They'll be eating it, man.
She clean.
She throw up, kind of walk away, and she comes sniffing, kind of eat it.
The dog ate on the remains of Jezebel.
Yeah,
Bad.
I saw that, but he got a piece
I was gonna say, yeah, I had the dog too. But like every time I hear him, you can hear the dog about to throw up. And like if you don't be in there about it with the dog, he gonna eat all the throw up up. But I had actually got on my dog about that and he stopped doing that. So I kind of whipped his ass a little bit.
Hey man, you gotta do that, man. You got it, brother.
Revelation 22 and 14.
Book of Revelation,
Peace.
chapter 22,
So when your right mind will possess you to eat a dog.
verse 15.
So that's why the Lord said all that goes upon fours is unclean unto you, man.
Started from
With they paws.
The book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 14, and it reads thus. Blessed are they that do his commandments.
So like you too, we know that the heathen don't keep the commandments at all. That's 2nd Ezra 3, last verses, right?
That they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
That's right. So without the commandments are dogs and sorcerers. This is an actual dog, brother. Right? Is it a Jake know the dogs out there.
Yeah.
He's not talking about that. He's talking about man. So if you don't got the commandments, you like a dog with no morals. You got it, brother.
Exodus 22 and 31.
Exodus 22:31.
The book of Exodus,
In the law.
chapter 22, and verse 31, and it reads thus. And ye shall be holy men unto me, neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs.
Main precept. Right? So any flesh that's torn of beast, you can't go eat it. You got Esau out here eating roadkill. I got some roadkill. Right? You got some
Right.
kings. You got some kings. Right? That's off, man. That was on Saturday. Right, that's going off, man. Right? They
Eating a raccoon is just, bro.
yeah. So you gotta catch that to the dogs.
So
And the dogs represents the nations too, man. You know, you cast that stuff to the dogs. Give it to the lesser nations.
Facts.
Yeah,
So I
bro.
came up with that precept. Remember I told you about Matthew 15:24? I read that and I just came to that conclusion. She had a bad imagination.
That's right. That's right.
Cast it to the dogs.
Then David called the Philistines dogs.
Oh, you gotta get that precept.
Yeah, I got scored.
He said, what have you dogs to do with the God, the living God?
Oh yeah, yeah. First Samuel 17.
That's what it is, First Samuel?
Yeah, he called him. That might be another count.
Oh, that might be another.
I couldn't remember what he said.
Yeah, he's calling them dogs.
Yeah, he did call them dogs. I can't remember what he said.
That's the same thing.
Nah,
17,
because
verse 7.
Goliath was mocking him and said, "You coming at me with a stab like a dog." I don't think he's talking about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
But he called himself a dog. Jake called each other dogs.
yeah, Jake
Right.
said that's my dog. That's my
Wow.
you know,
My dog.
that's my dog.
Doggy mode.
Right, doggy dog.
Yeah. That's my dog. Now we don't talk like that now for real. We use king and brother and stuff like that. In the world, hey, that's my dog. Man.
Dog
trip. You know,
I still call him
Big
dog
dog.
early, Jake.
Big
dog.
dog.
Yeah,
I say doggy ball trip.
Yeah, doggy dog.
Making this proverb.
I had another precept. Oh yeah, get 2 Kings. No, 1 Kings 21 and 20.
Read that out.
1 Kings 21 and 20. Right? Because the dogs hated Jezebel. That filthy Hamite. You got it, brother.
This is 1 Kings chapter 21 and verse 20. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall.
Meaning everything that appertained to Ahab, the Lord is going to destroy. Read on.
And him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah,
Destroy their household.
for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall all the fowls of the air eat.
Yeah, the dogs. And even going back to slavery, Esau would sick dogs upon Jacob. Right? And he would, hound dogs. And to calm the dogs down, he would give them hush puppies, man. Right? So that was actually a snack for the dogs during slavery, a hush puppy.
They got hush puppies today. They kind of
Yeah. So
I think Jake made that slavery before he was away.
yeah, that's a good point, bro. I didn't think about that.
He did make it easy to work, nigga. Make the dog not
Yeah,
feel
hush
like
puppy. Let's make a little hush puppy. Give it to the.
Because
Wow.
a bloodhound, a
Jake
dog,
smart.
a dog hound can smell blood from like miles away. Miles
That's
away.
what hush puppy
They can smell you.
But if I give you food, it'll throw you off. It'll probably give you like a 10, 15 kind of
Mile range.
head start.
All right, so we're gonna keep going. Keep reading on that Matthew the 25th chapter. Try to get through this.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 32. And it reads thus. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats.
Yeah, I was shout out to shepherd, 1 Peter 2:25. Read on.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
And the right hand represents righteousness.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 2.
Say it, brother.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 2.
Yeah, bring that out.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 2, and it reads thus. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left.
Right, so if you're a righteous man, your heart is going to be in the right place, man. You know.
St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Right, the kingdom prepared for the Israelites. 2nd Edges 2 and 10. Read on.
For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat.
Right.
I was thirsty.
Real quick, that's double fold as well, man. But chiefly that's spiritual. Right, you giving your brother the word of the Lord, helping him out, bearing his burden, as it states in Galatians 6 and 1. Giving him that food, you got to.
I just want to make a point with this parable. Like this context is going into how Shah, because when you read Matthew 24, they're going to gather the elect from the four winds, but then you got to go through the wilderness. So it's going through how he's going to separate the sheep from the goats, right, amongst Israel. So this is going into the Israelites right here. Right, so he's saying these are the ones who are going to inherit the kingdom. These going to be the ones who will be destroyed. Right, so it's double fold going into, that's why we said the goats is the 2/3 and the nations.
That's right, brother. Right, so it say, if I was hungry and you gave me meat, read on.
I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
That's why the Lord said, remember those that be in bonds. Hebrews 13 and 3. That's spiritual bonds and also physical. Right, because your brother can be in captivity to Satan, man. You got to deliver him.
Right.
Right? Like, for example, David rescued his 2 wives from the Philistines. Right, so he didn't just leave his wives in corruption and hell under the Philistines. No, he went to go rescue them. Same thing with Abraham. Abraham rescued his Lot and his servants in Genesis the 14th chapter. Right, so you're not going to just leave the ones you love in decay. You're going to go rescue them from the hand of the enemy. And I got one quick precept. Get Proverbs chapter 3, verse 27.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 3, and verse 7, it reads thus.
Yeah.
Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord.
Proverbs 3:27.
27. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due.
Withhold not good from them to whom it is due. Read on.
When it is in the power of thine hand.
So if it's in the power of your hand to do good to your brother, you have to do it. Right? If your brother is falling on hard times, and he's really sincere, right? He's not just being a wicked man defrauding the congregation, but he actually needs the help. And you got damn $10,000 in your pocket. You say, well, brother, I ain't really got it right now. That's off, man.
Right.
Your pockets is busting. You can clearly see the stocks in your pocket. And you say, well, I ain't really got it. I got to pay bills. You know, it is what it is. You know, hit up the treasury. Right? Wow. So you got, hey, man, that's not being your brother's keeper. You got to love your brother. Real quick, give me Leviticus 25 and 35. Let's get a precept on that. He said, hey man, hit up the treasury. You know, I kind of got to do what I got to do in this thing. I pray for you, brother.
Leviticus,
real quick, what good is your prayer, man? Right, you literally, it's in the power of your hand to do good to your brother. You saying, well, look, brother, I pray for you.
That's in James.
You know, faith without works is dead. Bring this up.
Leviticus 25 and 25. If thy brother be waxing poor.
If thy what?
If thy brother be waxing poor.
The poor is always going to be in the land, except for the kingdom of heaven, among the Israelites. Right, so that's why in Matthew the 26th chapter, the Lord said, "Ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always." Right, because the poor shall never cease from your land. There's always going to be poor. There's always going to be status. Right? You're going to have brothers that's wealthy. You're going to have brothers that's poor. It is what it is. Read on.
If thy brother be waxen poor, and have sold away some of his
He
possession,
kind of sold away his possessions. He don't got no more shoes. All his clothes gone, or they shrunk. Right? All hell breaking loose. He got hoes. He got a smell to him. All hell breaking loose with the brother. He's on hard times. Read on.
and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possession.
Yeah, let me say that he may live with you. You read that part?
They may live with you.
Yeah.
It's going to start right.
Nah, 25 and 35. Read that
Oh,
again.
35?
Yeah. 25 and 35.
Leviticus 25 and 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor, and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
Right?
Take thou no usury of him, or increase,
Right, you finessing him. Right, you getting over on him. Right, read on.
but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee.
So that's in the law, man. Right, you can't lend upon him for usury. Right, you kind of say, yeah, you know, yeah, we need to, I'm gonna give you this money, but you gotta pay me double fold. I'm gonna give you this $500, but you gotta give me $5,000 when you leave.
That sounds terrible.
That's evil, man. Right? Now, if the brother gotta pay you back, but you can't lend upon him for usury. Pretty much the increase. What's the word for it? Interest. Like interest.
Esau tried.
Interest got Esau got a crazy interest rate. 12 point, 4.
12.
8. Yeah.
That was 20.
Oh.
No, I saw
wow.
some 30.
I was about to say.
Hey,
They
right
now it's 20 to 30.
That's it, man. 20%. That's all.
Madness.
You know? And Esau, he get over on Jake. Jake, I got a credit card. Jake get happy. Well, brother, did you look at the interest rate, brother? Right? What's going on with that? You know? Now your credit jammed up. You're in the 300s. Too much. But,
Go to Sirach chapter 7, verse 34. Like I said, your brother can't be down in prison because that's the thing. Our people are in prison in their mind, man. Like they're enslaved to Babylon, enslaved to Esau's philosophy. So we'd be off slacking the list and see that, not give a damn. So we gotta go out there and judge them and shake their heads.
just to make a point, man, when your brother is in prison, right, because I done had, my dad was in prison most of my life. Right, we still got a brother in prison right now that used to be a part of the congregation. Hey, man, when that brother calls, you gotta pick up the phone, man. Right, you miss a couple calls, he gonna be on you like, brother, I called you, why you didn't pick up? Right, because they really need you in that state, man. They're in the lowest state right now. They need somebody to talk to, send some money. You might even a picture, man. Even sending a picture to your brother, right? You might let him know when the feast days come in, so he still can try to keep it to the best of his ability. That's love right there, man. You can't just leave him in that estate and just forget about it. Because, like they got a saying, out of sight, out of mind. So if you don't see your brother every day, you kind of forget about him. But that's why the Apostle Paul said, remember them that be in bondage. You got to take in remembrance to these brothers. Don't just forget about them because they locked away under Esau. You still got to visit them. Right? Paul got locked up, man, numerous times. Right? For about, 2.5 years? Just imagine being in prison for 2.5 years. You know,
You can't get back.
time you can't get back. It's like 700 something days. You got it, brother.
Yeah, bring that up.
That's all right.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse 4.
Chapter 7 and 34. All right, 7 and 34.
7 and verse 34, and it reads thus.
All right.
Fail not to be with them that weep,
Right?
and mourn with them that mourn.
Right, so you have to be with them that mourn. Right, we're commanded to do so. Read.
Be not slow to visit the sick.
What the Lord say?
Be not slow to visit the sick,
Read on.
for that shall make thee to be beloved.
You see, that'll make you love, man. You there while people sick. You there for people when they need. Right, that's what Yahweh Shah is going into in Matthew 25. Right, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me, man. Right, when I was poor, you didn't take me in, you didn't clothe me. Right, that's what he's going into. So he's saying the righteous, they did those things for him. Because when you feed your brother, right, rather it's actual food, right, rather it's the scriptures, guess what? You're doing that to Yahweh Shah.
These are the psychological effects of imprisonment. It say imprisonment can lead to delusions, paranoia, depression, suicidal tendencies, substance abuse, PTSD, as well as increased levels of hostility. See that? So it's a lot of spirits that come with prison, man. So you gotta visit those spirits in prison, casting out those different demons, man. You got it, brother.
Acts 12:5.
John, Acts chapter 12, verse 5. That's it. You know?
Look at Acts chapter 12 and verse 5.
And real quick, just think about it. What if you was in prison?
Man.
Wouldn't you want somebody to pick up their phone?
Yeah.
Imagine you in prison, you know, you calling your wife, she's not picking up. It's been 3 months. Brother, I mean, you might give up. Damn. Real talk.
Yeah.
You might, you know, go do something to yourself, man. Bring destruction upon your flesh with the work of your hands. Right? So this is why you have to visit those spirits in prison. You know, you got certain brothers, they actually visit the prisons, man. The brothers, the elders of HODC, they visit the prisons, they speak to the people in prison, Priest Kahan. That's how he met Kodak Black, because he was speaking to the youth in prison. Right? Lord willing, we can do that one day. Brothers get more built up in the spirit, we go to these different prisons, and we preach to Israel, man. Because they really need us in there, man. Yeah. It's a lot of spirits in prison.
Yeah.
You know, homosexuality, hostility and fights and contention,
Murder.
gangs, drugs are heavy in prison, man.
Yeah.
You got K2, you got fentanyl, you got zombies in prison, man. You got rapists and pedophiles and mischievous men, thieves and robbers and criminals, man.
Right, yeah.
So brother need that strength when he's in prison. He need a brother to give him the precepts, build him up, deliver him, rescue him.
God.
You got it, brother.
I actually got 2 precepts, but
Acts 12:5.
yeah, 12:5 and also 1 Peter 3:19.
Acts 12 and 5. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him.
That's right. Prayer was made without ceasing of the church.
Constantly.
Right, so the church constantly prayed for Peter.
And when Herod
Yes,
would,
on that.
and when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers,
Yep.
bound with 2 chains. And the keepers before the door kept the prison.
Yeah, that's on that. You can get 1 Peter's
Well, he got delivered from
3
prison, man.
3:18.
All right, what you say?
1 Peter 3:18 through 19.
He got delivered from prison. So, and when them prayers are being made for you, brothers get delivered, man.
3:18 through 19.
They got less time. I know a brother, man. Less time on his sentence. He could have got 10 years, man. He could have got 15 years, 10 to 15 years. And but the Lord is allowing the brother to get out
Right.
God praise.
this year, Lord willing. You got it, brother.
1 Peter 3:18, and it reads thus: For Hamashiach also hath once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Yahweh, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit. By which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison.
In what?
In prison.
Well, it was free.
In prison.
Free as a dove.
In prison.
Free as a bird.
In prison.
They was in prison, man. They was
Right.
bound. Read on.
Which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Yahweh waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water.
Right, so that's it on that. So again, that's the sheep and the goats, man. Right, so all praises to the Most High God. You got the sheep, which represents Israel. You got the goats, represents wicked Israel and the heathen nations. Right, and the sheep are going to be set on the right hand. The goats are going to be set on the left. The sheep is going to be delivered and taken up in those chariots. And the goats are going to be destroyed by way of fire and brimstone.
That's right.
So with that, Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Yabashmi al Shabarakatam.